Welcome, Family First Life family, to Virtual Sales Made Easy. My name is Linda Lampasso, VP of Peak Finance out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, part of Team National. Excited to be paving the way for some simple processes to virtual sales. Today, we're going to be talking about virtual sales, the in-home process. Pretty much A to Z, what to do when you're running a virtual appointment. And I've said this in the prior segments. I just want to reiterate again, we're not looking to recreate a new approach to sales. I'm looking to simplify this for those people who want to give this a shot, ideally under a hybrid model where you're starting to play with the idea of going virtual while maintaining what works in the field. If it goes wonderfully for you, then by all means, if you'd like to transition into virtual only, many people are having success with it. And for a lot of people, they're still enjoying the hybrid, way where you can have control and you can kind of offer, to your clients to either have you come in home or have you do a virtual appointment. So that's going to be up to you guys. We just want to give you the tools so that you're equipped to have the success that people like myself are having who are doing virtual sales. And again, just to reiterate, I've been doing this over the last year and a half, averaging about $30,000 a month, really on a part-time basis. So I do feel that this process is perfected for me, and that's why I want to share, what I know is working and some of the things that I think might get in the way, with a virtual sale. So the first thing that we're going to do when we get on the screen, whether that be a FaceTime, a Google Duo, a Zoom, whatever platform it may be, you want to be able to be a chameleon there and just do what you need to do, is the eye contact portion. Again, I spoke about this before. I can't say enough about how important eye contact is, especially when you're on a screen. It's the only way you have to connect with the person on the other end. So you need to make sure your camera's ready to go. You need to make sure that when you're looking at the camera, they're seeing your eyes. You need to play with your body language. You need to lean in. You want to still do rapport build like you would in home, maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and just some, advice on what you might rapport build about. I just kind of take it case by case. It might be something like, oh, are you guys just getting home from work? How's your day? What are you guys doing for work? Are you guys working at home? How do you enjoy that, right? We talk a lot about this idea of moving from the real world to virtual. So sometimes I like to get their take on how they feel about virtual, right? Because that kind of tells me, do they really want, a more in-depth approach today, or do they want it to kind of be quick and to the point because maybe they've been on Zoom calls all day long at work? So it's just a quick way for me to get to know their situation a little bit and their comfort level with the virtual platform. So that's something I usually will start with. If I see a picture in the background, if there's a dog on their lap, if there's a grandkid in the background or a child on their lap, anything like that is an opening for you to just connect with them on where they're at, what's going on in their life. So that's really my starting point. The next thing I do is I show them the lead sheet. So a lot of times I've textiled the sheet out and they've already seen it, but I will just assume that maybe both people didn't see that. And I will show them a picture of the lead sheet. I'll hold it up to the screen and I will do my transition from that point. That's my intro, is basically showing them that lead sheet. So for me, the transition is pretty straightforward. Guys, this is the form you filled out. I'm assuming that you filled it out like most of our clients. There's a general concern, either there's a mortgage and we want to make sure that we can pay off the loan or at least have some kind of a payment protection scenario in death. If it's a final expense, we want to make sure that we have a legacy or that we're not a burden, to somebody else with our final expense. Can I assume that that's the case for you guys? So again, you're assumptive. Everybody else that fills these out, that's what they're doing. I'm assuming it's the case for you. And then my transition, and this is really the only thing I interject about myself, is just so you guys understand who I am. I work with about 20 different carriers who provide the actual protection. I do mortgage protection, straight life, we do final expense, we even do retirement preservation. We really do it all. So, we really do it all under the life umbrella is how I say it. What I'm going to do for you guys is I'm just going to ask you guys a few quick questions. We're going to figure out what the best scenario is for you. It's not one size fits all. And then we're going to go over those options and hopefully get that coverage in place for you. So I'm just very nonchalantly describing my process so they know what to expect, but I'm not steamrolling over them. I'm not telling them that we're going to find a price that works and then we're going to write the policy for you. It's too assumptive to me in the beginning, and I think it puts people off. So I want to make sure that I have enough of that connection. I want to be really easygoing. I want to be casual yet professional so that they're happy to give me the answers to some of the, invasive questions that I'm going to be asking about their finances, about their medical, about are they both on the loan? Are they renting? What's your overall budget look like? Do we have any, crazy debts that we're dealing with? Do we have anything that acts like life insurance, right? So there's some questions that if I don't set the stage properly, people are not going to be comfortable answering those, whether I'm in home or on a virtual appointment. So the in-home structure is just as important, if not more important, when you're on a virtual sale. So if you don't have a process that you're using in every appointment, like the financial inventory sheet that I've trained on for years, there's different versions of it out there. If it's working, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, but make sure you follow through on virtual. If it's not working and you want something new, you can go to YouTube and you can look up different in-home processes. Mine will be there. Matt Smith is phenomenal. There's, a few different veterans, I think, that set the stage for what we're doing in home. Listen to those, listen to people that are doing, high volumes of sales of where you want to go and implement that into the virtual platform. So my point there is you still have to have the structure. Personally, I just have it in front of me on my desk and I don't show it to the client because I don't do that in home. So I have no reason to do it on a virtual appointment. I continue to make eye contact back and forth with them as I ask them the questions. And then if I have a chance to interject into their conversation, a lot of times they'll start talking amongst themselves. I'll do that because that continues on with the rapport building. The other thing I go out of my way to do on virtual that's a little bit different than in-home is I over-explain what we're doing. So, I really want to get them on the same page with me. I want to make sure that they're connected to the why. To why am I here with you guys? Why are we spending this time? Why is it important for you? So I spend a lot of time just as I would in home, but even more so when I'm virtual, because I know it's really easy for them to say, we just are going to think about it. We're not sure, because they can easily just click a button and they can be off a phone. So what are you going to do to engage them to make sure that they stay on that appointment with you the entire time? Personally, I've tried using slides before. I've tried having my inventory sheet up on the screen. I've tested it both ways. I find it's very distracting when I have something tangible on the screen that I can look at, they can look at, and I feel like it takes away from the personal connection. So for me, I don't have anything up on the screen. I just have myself and the client, and we're going back and forth in discussion. So the over-explaining of the process also, speaks to what kinds of products do we write? How do we function? How can we serve you where maybe somebody else can't? So I have a little bit of a discussion before I present the price and product options, and I explain what we focus on. So guys, just so you understand the process, everything we offer is what we call non-medical. That's why I had to verify in person somehow. It's non-invasive. There's no blood, urine. There's no pulling all your medical records. We just ask you some basic health questions, and we'll do a quick prescription check, and that'll tell us pretty quickly if you're approved or declined. So it's very straightforward. My goal in the end is to be able to give you a policy number today. And if not, at least have a game plan as far as another strategy that's going to work better. And because most of our products are instant decision, that means that we're going to know today one way or another. I have the ability to do that for you. So if something doesn't go through, I can easily transition into the next option because I've already set the stage to let them know that sometimes that's necessary. That's why we have so many different products to choose from. If I uncover some annuity money, and again, I still ask that question, whether I'm virtual or in person, do you have anything that acts like life insurance? The reason I'm asking, Bob, is a lot of times we can take the funds that you already have, reallocate them, maybe give you a nice bonus that'll bump your legacy and put you in a position where you can never lose money again, but you can gain interest. Is that something that you might want to take a look at? So that's my spin over to, you know, the uncovering of annuities. And then I can do it on a Zoom, or I can offer to go in person if it's an advanced sale like that, and I have the capability to do it in person. The other thing as well, and I kind of want to backtrack on this a little bit, and it talks a little bit more about leads, but if you have multiple licenses and you're not able to get there for these different work trips, you can sit in your office and you can handle multiple lead types from multiple states doing a virtual platform. So it behooves you to get good at doing it and to at least understand it in case you have to do it, because there's going to be times, you know, maybe you get sick, maybe something happens with your kid and you can't get out in the field. And instead of giving that appointment away or having to reschedule it, you know, you could do it via Zoom or via FaceTime or Google Duo or Messenger or whatever it may be. The next part of the process, this is kind of where we get into pricing, right? And how do we show them the options? If you don't put it up on a screen, you know, what do? So again, I don't want to put it up on a screen because then I feel like it's going to take the client away from me and my connection and my expert opinion, and it's going to make them sit there reading all the options and get distracted. So what I do with a virtual sale that's different than my in-home is I only give them one product option and two price options, because this eliminates them getting overwhelmed and needing to go think about it. So it's basically, if they're in a certain age group, you know, anything under, you know, 55, I'm probably going to offer them a return of premium first, and I'm going to give them two options of coverage. I'm also going to price out, you know, a regular non-return of premium, so I have it there in case that return of premium comes in too high and they're just not moving on the lower increment of coverage. I want to have a backup scenario. So before I even start the appointment, and I know this is a little bit counterintuitive, it's different than what we teach you when you go in an appointment, but I will always run best case scenario. I'll have it written out on the lead sheet before I start the appointment, and I'll run what I think a backup option would be. So I might run, you know, HMS 125, that's the non-returner premium with Americo. I might run a CBO 100 with Americo, and then I might run a final expense option for payment protection if they're not going to qualify. So I will do that legwork in advance on virtual sales. It only takes 5 minutes, but it makes the appointment go smoother, and it's less time that you're sitting there quoting in front of them and trying to revamp scenarios. But when I present it to them, I ask them, I said, are you guys auditory? Do you want me to kind of read through the numbers first? Or do you want to grab a pen and I'll go slow and you can write down the options, you know, as I read them off? Most of the time they'll grab a pen and they'll write down the options. What am I doing here? I'm engaging them. I'm getting them to be a participant with me. They have to do something. I'm not just going to hand feed them everything. And they're going to start looking over these numbers. And I'm going to go slow and I'm going to repeat if I have to. And then the same way I would close them in home, you know, guys, I'm looking for a no-brainer number today. Our goal is to even make sure we can get you this coverage. First, we have to get an approval. Okay, as I said, I should know takes me about 5 or 10 minutes. We'll do an electronic application. I'll collect your basic information. That means your social security number, your date of birth, your driver's license number, things like that we'll need to verify. We do collect your routing account information. If the policy is not approved, they're not going to draft that premium. But if it is approved, we do need to get the policy enforced so you have that coverage. I don't give them a choice. That's exactly how I say it. I'm explaining the process. So today, I'm just looking for the no-brainer number, something that you see that's super affordable, but that fills the void enough for you guys, where you feel comfortable that you have enough coverage after everything we've discussed. And 9 out of 10 times, they're going to pick the lower to middle option that I've given them, right? And if I'm doing virtual again, I'm going to do 2 options, right? I'm going to give them a high and I'm going to give them a low. And then there's a dialogue that happens after that, right? So they get a ballpark and then they say, well, this one's way too high, but this one, super easy. So then I might say, well, guys, there's an in-between here. You know, I can price a little bit higher. Do you want me to go to the next level? And then that's where I might give them a third option. But what have I done? I've gotten them involved in the pricing process. What can they really do? What are they comfortable with? So I'm continuing to engage them in my process. It's not just that I'm talking at them or that I'm showing them all this information. They're on board with me. And then when I have them committed, I again reiterate. So now what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to get my e-app up and running. And we're going to go ahead and we can do one of two things. Just so you know, it's going into a secured site with the carrier. Okay. None of this information is going to save on my computer. I'm happy to do a screen share with you if you'd like to watch me input all the information, or if you just want to sit back and relax. I know you've had a long day. I'll go ahead and input it for you and just ask you the questions. 9 out of 10 times, they sit back and relax and they give me the information I ask for, and they don't want to do a screen share. The final piece of that is just knowing on the e-apps, and I'm going to do a segment on carriers and things like that. But Americo, for instance, you want to know how to run through an e-app. You want to know how to explain to them, okay, I'm going to send you this HIPAA form first. You want to be able to explain. You click on review documents. Now you click on accept. Now you scroll down and you apply your signature under proposed insured. Now you're going to hit finish. Right? Now you're going to hit done when they ask you if you want a copy of the document. So just basic things that you'll learn, right? Or if it's John Hancock, it's a very easy process. They show you on the screen what that e-app looks like and what the client's getting on the other end of the screen so that you can guide them. So that's the last piece, is just knowing how to guide them through a little bit. Most people are fine, but some people need a little guidance. And so if you can, run through a few times, if you're not familiar with it, you can do that. And then you can be clear on what they're going to be seeing on the other end of the screen. If it's final expense and, Americo didn't work out and you want to switch gears, I go Aetna, because they do a security question for a signature. So the client doesn't really have to do anything on their end. So there are ways that we can get creative to make the process a little bit easier. We are going to put out an actual in-home process so you can see, all of these elements come to life. Thank you guys so much for joining.